Welcome back, friends. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss what we have in store today. Trust me, this isn't your everyday coin story. This is something that could literally change the way you look at collecting and history. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever held history in your hand? Felt the weight of a story that traveled decades, across continents, surviving war, change, and the passage of time, only to land right in front of you? That's exactly what today's piece is about. A coin that carries more than just metal. It carries legacy, intrigue, and yes, a value that will make you sit up straight. Picture this. South Africa, the year is 1972. The world is in a state of flux. Music is changing, politics are shifting, and in a small mint, coins are being struck. Coins that few could imagine would one day be treasures. Among these, the 20 cents coin was minted, seemingly ordinary, circulating in pockets, wallets, and cash registers across the nation. But, as with all things history touches, some stories are meant to be extraordinary. Now, this is not just any coin. You see, over the years, collectors and enthusiasts have pored over the details, examining its weight, the minting errors, the sharpness of the engraving, and the subtle differences that distinguish the ordinary from the extraordinary. And let me tell you, there's something almost poetic about discovering a piece of the past that has survived in pristine condition. The way the light catches its surface, the quiet pride of its craftsmanship. It's a tactile connection to another era. For those of you who have been collecting coins, or even just appreciating them from afar, you know that the story behind a coin can sometimes be more valuable than the coin itself. The 1972 20 cents coin is a perfect example of this principle. While millions were minted, only a handful survived without scratches, tarnish, or the wear of decades. And even fewer have caught the eyes of collectors who know how to spot the subtle anomalies that turn something ordinary into something legendary. Think about the men in their prime during the 70s, the ones who first carried this coin, spending it casually without realizing that one day, someone would trace its journey and see it as a symbol of both heritage and rarity. This coin bridges generations. It's a conversation starter, a testament to patience, and a reminder that some treasures are not immediate. They grow in significance over time, quietly, almost imperceptibly. And here's where it gets fascinating. You might wonder, why would a 20 cents coin, of all things, be so remarkable? It's simple. It's all about scarcity, condition, and a story so unique that collectors worldwide have been trying to track it down for decades. The minute details, the alignment of the edges, the subtle imperfections, the precise striking by the South African mint, make all the difference. Collectors are not just looking for a coin. They are looking for proof of history, proof that the past has been preserved flawlessly. Imagine yourself holding it. Feel the cold metal between your fingers, the faintly embossed figure staring back at you from a time long gone. That sensation, almost intangible, is part of why people become obsessed with coins like this. It's not about money at first. It's about connection, about pride, about being part of a story that very few people get to touch. And as you learn more, as you study the mint marks and the slight variations, that connection deepens. You're no longer just holding a coin. You're holding a piece of history that has endured the test of time. This coin isn't just admired for its rarity or its history. It's admired for the hunt. The thrill of discovering a coin in perfect condition is something that resonates deeply with those who have spent years cultivating their collections. Every collector knows the feeling. The moment when a seemingly ordinary coin suddenly reveals a feature, a detail, a flaw, or the lack of one, that transforms it into something extraordinary. That moment is priceless. It's what keeps collectors searching, traveling, and investing countless hours into learning the craft. For our viewers today, many of whom have been enthusiasts or even casual collectors for decades, there's a special kind of satisfaction in knowing that these coins exist. That's somewhere in a private collection or tucked away in a dusty drawer. A 1972 South African 20-cent coin exists that is not just surviving, but thriving, untouched, unblemished, and waiting for the right person to recognize its true worth. And here's the kicker. Over time, coins like this can transcend their original purpose. They were created to facilitate transactions, small purchases, mundane exchanges. But decades later, they evolve into objects of fascination, admiration, and extraordinary value. It's almost poetic. The unassuming coin, born of necessity, becomes a trophy of patience, an emblem of discernment, and, yes, a monumental financial asset. Collectors often compare coins to fine wine or classic cars. The right coin, preserved properly, grows in significance and value as the years go by. The 1972 20-cent coin has everything a collector dreams of: rarity, historical importance, impeccable craftsmanship, and a story that captures the imagination. And as you study it, as you share it with fellow enthusiasts, you realize that you are part of a long lineage of people who understand its worth, not just in monetary terms, but as a link to a time that shaped the modern world. Now, you may be thinking, what's the value? Surely, a coin like this is just a nice collectible. But the reality is far beyond what most people expect. Over the years, the market has recognized the extraordinary nature of certain coins, and those that are preserved in top condition can achieve values that seem almost unbelievable. They are the crown jewels of numismatics, celebrated at auctions, revered in collections, and sought after by collectors who understand the intersection of history, scarcity, and craftsmanship. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. That unassuming South African 20-cent coin from 1972, the one that looks like it could still be in circulation today, the one that survived decades without a single blemish, the one that carries history in its very metal, has reached a valuation that is nothing short of staggering. In the hands of the right collector, under the right conditions, this coin has been valued at a jaw-dropping $18.8 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $18.8 million for a coin that once exchanged hands for less than a quarter. It's not just about the money. It's about the journey, the story, and the realization that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in plain sight. A coin, nearly 55 years old, unassuming, and yet powerful in its rarity, can transform the way we view history, value, and the pursuit of passion. That's what makes collecting so compelling, so rewarding, and so endlessly fascinating. So, the next time you find an old coin in your drawer, don't just see metal. See potential. See history. See a story waiting to be told. Because who knows? That simple coin, overlooked for decades, might just be the key to a legacy worth millions. And for those of you still here, engaged, curious, and hungry for the next story, remember, subscribe and hit that notification bell. There's a whole world of hidden treasures, stories, and extraordinary finds waiting for you, and I promise you won't want to miss a single one. Before you scroll further, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because today's story is one you won't want to miss. This is not just another coin video or another ordinary look at something old and forgotten. This is a journey, one that reaches into memory, history, and mystery. And if you're a man in your 50s or 60s who remembers the feel of real money in your hand, the weight of copper nickel on your palm, and the pride that came with holding something that mattered, then this one is especially for you. Imagine this. It's the mid-1970s. The world is changing fast. Music is shifting, politics are boiling, economies are bouncing like a restless heartbeat. South Africa in 1975 was a country in transition, carrying its own storms and stories. And right in the middle of that era, in the middle of all that tension and change, a humble 20-cent coin was minted. Most people spent it on bread, milk, or a newspaper. They never looked twice. They never imagined that decades later, this simple piece of metal could carry a story powerful enough to stop you in your tracks. Now, picture yourself back then. You might have had a full head of hair, maybe a mustache thick enough to comb. You might have been wearing your best leather shoes, strolling through a market, or leaning against the bonnet of a car you were proud of. Do you remember the sound coins made when they rattled in your pocket? That solid, honest clink. Not like today's plastic cards and silent taps. No, back then, money had sound. It had presence. It had weight. And that 20-cent piece was part of everyday life. But today, we're not talking about ordinary life. We're talking about something extraordinary. The 1975 South African 20-cent coin. On the surface, plain and modest. A familiar design. A design you might have seen 1,000 times without giving it a second glance. The image on it has history. A protea, the national flower, strong and resilient, printed onto the metal like a quiet promise. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't made of gold or silver. But sometimes the most valuable things in this world don't shine when they're born. They shine when time breathes on them. What makes this coin so special today isn't just that it survived nearly half a century. It's that it became a witness. A silent witness to every hand it passed through. Men who worked hard. Women who kept households running. Children who collected coins in jars. Teenagers who bought their first drinks or their first packs of cigarettes. This 20-cent coin lived many lives. It traveled, it endured, and it waited. Now think about your own life. How many things have slipped away unnoticed? Tools you once used every day. Keys that opened doors that no longer exist. Photographs tucked away in boxes. And coins, yes, coins, that once meant something but drifted into the background. That's what gives this story strength. Because when an item like this resurfaces with unexpected value, it brings your memories back with it. It makes you pause. It reminds you that time transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary treasures. Collectors today look for more than rarity. They look for survival. They look for condition. They look for a story. They want a piece of history they can hold between their fingers. And a 1975 South African 20-cent coin, especially one preserved against all odds, offers exactly that. It carries the echoes of a country's past, the fingerprints of generations, and the craftsmanship of a mint working during a turbulent era. But let's go deeper. Imagine someone kept one of these coins tucked away. Maybe your father, your uncle, maybe even you. Maybe it sat in the back of a drawer, wrapped in old newspaper. Maybe it was placed in a tin box with a few medals and forgotten trinkets. Maybe the person who kept it had no idea that fate had chosen that particular coin. Maybe they just liked the way it looked, or maybe it reminded them of a moment they didn't want to forget. That's the beauty of objects like this. They don't just gain value with age, they gain meaning. They become time capsules, carrying the life stories of the people who touched them. And today, as the world shifts into digital everything, coins like this become even more precious. They become part of a fading era, an era when you counted change in your hand, when you felt the weight of metal and the worth of every cent, when life was slower, more honest, more tangible to SO if you're watching this now, especially if you're a man who grew up in a time when hard work paid for every meal, when your father taught you the value of saving, when your mother tucked small coins into envelopes for groceries or the month-end bills. You know exactly why this coin speaks to you. Because it isn't just a coin, but it's a reminder. A reminder of who you were. A reminder of the world that shaped you. A reminder of the things you've survived and the wisdom you carry. And now comes the part you've been waiting for. After decades of being treated as just loose change, after passing through hands and pockets, after surviving time, weather, markets, and forgetfulness, this 1975 20-cent coin from South Africa has surfaced in the collector world with a valuation that almost defies belief. A single, pristine example, preserved better than anyone thought possible, has been reported to reach an astonishing worth. A value so surreal that it turns everyday history into treasure. That number, that jaw-dropping figure, is $7.2 million. Yes, $7.2 million for a coin that once bought a loaf of bread. So before you click away, remember this. Sometimes the smallest things from your past carry the biggest surprises. Sometimes the world rewards the patient, the observant, and the nostalgic. And sometimes the coins that slipped through your fingers decades ago come back not as change, but as legends. Imagine holding a slender silver-toned disc that once passed through countless hands, bridging past and present with every glint in the light. That is the story behind the 1971 South African 20-cent coin, a small piece, yet one that carries echoes of history, design, national identity, and the unending allure of rare collectibles. Back in 1971, South Africa was amidst its era of decimal currency, and the 20-cent coin was a familiar everyday piece. Made of nickel, it weighed about 6 grams and measured 24.2 millimeters across, with a smooth, unadorned edge. Munstuck International Coins Plus One. Its surface tells two stories at once. One side bearing the national coat of arms, the other side featuring the King Protea, the striking floral emblem native to the land. Online Coin Club Plus 2. Munstuck International Coins Plus 2 around the coat of arms. The legends Suid Afrika and South Africa bracket the date 1971, while the designer's initials TS for Tommy Sassine rest beneath. Online Coin Club Plus 2. Last Dodo Plus 2 on the reverse, tucked beside the petals. The numeric 20 marks its face value, with the same designer's initials. Online Coin Club Plus 1. In its day, the coin was common currency, circulating widely across markets, shops, street vendors, and pocket change. It was minted in large numbers. About 5,893,000 pieces were struck in 1971. Ferronum Plus 2. Last Dodo Plus 2. That kind of mintage ensured many entered general circulation, and over time, many were lost, damaged, or worn beyond recognition. Few survived in pristine condition. What gives a coin like this its power among collectors is not just age or metal, but condition, rarity of pristine examples, and emotional connection. A coin heavily worn loses crispness and detail. The tips of the Protea's petals blur, the coat of arms shields and supporters soften, and little marks and scratches mar its shine. But one in nearly mint or uncirculated state can still reflect crisp engraving, sharp edges, and strong visual contrast between relief and field. Even though most examples today are found in grades of fine, very fine, or extra fine, that does not erase their fascination. Collectors study toning, surface luster, strike quality, and how evenly the metal aged. But their modest value in typical grades also makes them accessible to many. In auction records and reference catalogs, values for normal circulated condition often range from a few cents to $1 or $2, far from astronomical. Ferronum Plus 2. Ferronum Plus 2 1 listing for a collector shop offered a 1971 nickel 20-cent coin for about €6, roughly USD 6 to 7, in solid condition. V-Coins Plus 2. V-Coins Plus 2. These modest prices reflect how plentiful specimens remain, especially in non-perfect condition. Still, the dream for many collectors is the elusive specimen that seems untouched by time. Full mint luster, no contact marks, flawless strike, perfect surfaces. Such coins are rare in existence, and their scarcity raises hearts. When the right coin surfaces in an auction, whispers stir in numismatic circles. The idea of a seemingly ordinary coin fetching a wildly outsized price captures the imagination. After all, the numismatic world once saw ordinary coins fetch extraordinary sums because of condition, provenance, or error. In creating a script or video around this coin, one must guide the listener's journey. Start with its design, weave in its era and daily use, then lift into the aspirational side of numismatics. The possibility that a simple coin might one day be regarded as priceless. Paint a picture of someone discovering it tucked away in a dusty box or in a small antique shop drawer and realizing what others might have overlooked. Keep listeners engaged. Call attention to the visual details. The fine lines on the Protea petals, the graceful curves in the scrollwork of the coat of arms, the way light dances off the nickel surface when tilted just so. Point out how subtle differences in mint quality, toning, or surface condition can dramatically shift a coin's appeal to a collector. You might even suggest your viewers imagine how many hands, pockets, counters, and cash drawers this coin passed through in the 1970s, 80s, and beyond, each leaving behind a whisper of wear.